Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome to our weekly media briefing and public health update with Montgomery County Executive Mark Elridge. I'm Lauren Vergelli, Hispanic Public Information Officer, and joining us today Dr. James Bridgers, the Director of the Department of Health and Human Services, as well as Mr. Sean O'Donnell, Assistant Chief of Public Health Services, Dr. Earl Stoddard, Assistant Chief Administrative Officer, and our guest today is Judy Costello, who is Director of Economic Development Special Projects in the Office of the County Executive. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, Mr. County Executive. The floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for being here. I want to acknowledge that this is a very unusual year for presenting our operating budget, and we're going to be sharing details of the budget with the press this Friday at 4 p.m. It's a little different than usual, and I'll explain why. By the county charter, I have to send my recommended budget to the council by March 15th. When the 15th is on the weekend, like this year, I have until the following Monday. However, this weekend, I began a 2-week trip to Taiwan and India. And Judy Costello is on a meeting briefing today, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that trip in a minute. But since I won't be here on Monday, and we need to release the budget on Friday, in previous years, we've had the press conference in the morning. But this morning, on Friday morning, we're doing the annual Public Safety Awards at the Strathmore, so we can't do it then. And then there are other meetings for people on the council and such. Politics Hour has 3 council members on, I think, at noon. And so there's a lot going on, so we decided the best time and the only time to really do this is to do it on Friday afternoon. So that's why you're going to see it then. We're in the final stages of wrapping up our budget deliberations, and I want to thank all the staff at the Office of Management and Budget, as well as the Department of Finance, for the work on what was a very challenging and difficult budget. We are definitely facing some tough headwinds with increased demands, increased needs, and demands for more services, not only from MCPS, but from many of the county's departments that are providing critical services to the community. Additionally, we have the usual contractual, legal, and policy expenditures that are rising with inflation. Inflation really hasn't been all that great for part of the year. It's coming a little bit back down to earth, still not quite there. And on top of all these constraints, we also feeling cuts from both the federal and state government. It's a combination of events that are not the greatest thing in the world when you're putting the budget together. So I look forward to sharing my FY27 operating recommendations on Friday. And please feel free to work with Scott and Mary with any questions you have prior to the budget press conference or follow-up questions into next week. I'm also looking forward to returning to Asia next week and to be there for almost 2 weeks, not quite 2 weeks. It's my 4th trip to Taiwan and my 2nd trip to India. Traveling to Taiwan has become an annual trip to the Smart Cities Conference in Taipei. The Taipei Computer Association has supported our travel there, where I'll be able to meet with business prospects and speak at their Net Zero Climate Summit and other events. In India, I was invited to speak at IndiaSoft. That's the largest IT software conference in India, and it's about business investment opportunities in Montgomery County. At least that's what I'm going to be talking about. Like them or not, the tariffs imposed by the Trump administration are affecting global businesses. It may be more important than ever for businesses to have a U.S. base of operations if they want to conduct business here. Expansion means having a U.S. footprint, and we offer one of the best landing spots in the country. As an example of an international company expanding here, Samsung Biologics of South Korea acquired the former GSK drug manufacturing facility in Rockville at the end of last year. This is significant economic achievement benefiting the county and the state of Maryland, and it was recognized in the governor's State of the State address last month. The Samsung agreement is going to keep 500 existing jobs and create new positions for their expansion plans on their site. Our other international successes often come from smaller businesses or collaborations between local companies and foreign partners. But I got to say, on the Samsung deal, one of the things that I really think is important about this is GSK was using it to manufacture drugs for GSK. Samsung is going to continue to do that for GSK, but they are also looking to become a manufacturer of drugs for drug trials and for clinical use by companies that can't afford to produce their own drugs. So they want to be what's called the CDMO manufacturer and provide that service. And being in Montgomery County is going to be an attraction for companies in Montgomery County, because I know from talking to some of them, getting things manufactured at a small scale can often be very expensive and means shipping things out of the state to get the work done. So this is a good thing for our life sciences community, and having Samsung here is a good thing, period. This is their first U.S. operation manufacturing. It's a big deal that they came here. Montgomery County is recognized worldwide for its skilled workforce and the abundant opportunities we have. I'm also a little surprised with how often in our travels we find people that already have business ties, education ties, or even family ties to our communities. It has actually happened in a meeting where somebody tells me that they went to Montgomery College or they attended one of the high schools here. So people do know us, and Taiwan in particular has a community that's pretty engaged with us. Business leaders already know about our county's educated and diverse talent pool, along with the welcoming atmosphere. It's one of the top reasons for choosing to expand operations here. I'm going to turn this over now to Judy Costello. She's the Director of Economic Development and Special Projects in my office, and she's joined me on each one of these international trips. And so, Judy, what do we got lined up this time?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. County Executive. And I just want to clarify one thing with Samson Biologics, who announced that great project and acquisition that you mentioned of GSK. It's technically not fully closed, but we'll be doing so. They expect to close on that fully at the end of this month. And our press team will keep you all posted. In terms of the Taiwan and India trips, I joined because I'm planning lots of meetings, and for this coming week, the county executive will be traveling. It's a 2-day trip, takes overnight. He'll arrive Monday morning just in time to drive out to the National Biomedical Research Park, with whom we signed an MOU to support bilateral support of biotech startups at last summer's Biotech International Conference in Boston. So our first meeting is a follow-up with the leaders at that park, and meeting with a couple companies who are interested in possibly expanding to the United States. We then are having a lunch meeting with a CDMO prospect. The county executive was just talking about small batch manufacturing, and we have 2 Taiwanese companies interested in establishing manufacturing operations here. One of whom we're meeting with Monday at lunch. The second we're meeting with during a networking meeting we do for prospects, biotech and otherwise, on next Monday afternoon. We're having a late day meeting with a satellite components manufacturer with whom we've met every year since our first trip to Taiwan in 2023. They expect to come to the SATCOM conference taking place in Washington, D.C. The week that we're in India, and during that week they also will sign a license agreement to occupy space in our Rockville Innovation Center. So that's taken 3 years of relationship building and them figuring out their market opportunities. They look to companies who are in Montgomery County like Hughes, Intellian, AeroVironment as potential customers, and they're excited to be here. But we'll catch up with them before they travel here the week after next. On Tuesday, the county executive will participate in a welcome ceremony for this annual Smart Cities Conference that last year attracted 150,000 attendees. That's Tuesday morning. Tuesday afternoon, he's been invited to speak about Montgomery County's climate action plan and takeaways and lessons learned that could be useful not only to Taiwanese city leaders, but also leaders from around the world. Last year, there were 80 jurisdictions from around the world, in addition to Montgomery County, represented at the similar conference. On Wednesday, we traveled to Taichung, which is a city not too far from Taipei, where the county executive will be signing an MOU focused on economic development initiatives supporting bilateral trade. Last year, we traveled there and met with the mayor, who actually will be in Montgomery County in Maryland next week. while we are in Taichung, so that agreement will technically be signed by the deputy mayor. We also are touring a pharmaceutical company in that city that may be interested in expanding to the U.S. and meeting with a couple other companies. That's Wednesday. Thursday, we have a follow-up meeting with the mayor of Taipei, with whom Mark, the county executive, signed an agreement last year, a Friendship Cities agreement. He also, the county executive, participated in an AI summit last year with the mayor of Taipei, and this is a follow-on business exchange meeting that's taking place with him there. Thursday afternoon, we have matchmaking with 9 or 10 companies who have said they want to expand to the U.S. I've looked through the list. There are health IT companies, a number of cybersecurity and IT solutions companies. Thursday, that's one of the technologies that's highlighted at the Smart Cities Conference in Taipei. Friday, we take a high-speed train south and back to Kaohsiung, where the focus is energy and health IT, and we expect to be meeting with companies there. On this trip, we have a small startup energy robotics company, and also the head of the Daejeon Global Business Trade Center is joining us, waving the Montgomery County flag in Taiwan with us. And importantly, Council Vice President Marilyn Balcom also will be joining the county executive in our delegation. That is all taking place next week. Saturday morning early, we leave for India to attend, as the county executive said, the India Soft Conference, where we have 20 meetings lined up between Monday and Tuesday, and we land there Saturday evening, but start with a meeting about an hour away with a company that has a presence here and a home office in India, AAP Soft. We're meeting with them Sunday afternoon, doing 20 meetings Monday and Tuesday, doing a big U.S. SME Business Council event Wednesday, and then we get on a flight and come back here. And one of us will sleep on the plane, and I will sleep after I arrive back. But that's our schedule, Mr. County Executive. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Director Costello. Members of the media, if you have any questions regarding this economic development mission to Asia, please raise your hand. And I see Bethesda today. Ms. Hackabee, good afternoon. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to ask a clarifying question. The county executive said the Taipei Computer Association is supporting the trip to Taiwan. Does that mean like they're paying for it, or can you just elaborate on that?
Sure. As happens with a lot of conferences and a lot of, not just county execs, but faculty and businesses, frequently, if you're invited to speak, they will help cover some of the costs. So the Taipei Computer Association covers the county executive's round trip airfare, and they've already confirmed that they'll cover it for that, here and back. I should note that the county executive and all of us fly economy when we travel. And then they also provide subsidized hotel accommodations for the period of time that we're at the trip. In India, the hotel will be subsidized. And in both countries, things like meals and local transportation are largely subsidized or covered by our host.
And can I just do one follow-up? Is that for just the county executive or for the delegation?
It differs in the airfare is for the county executive only. The subsidized hotels are for the delegation, even the business members in Taipei, and the delegation is solely, I didn't mention this, the county executive and me. At India Soft, we do have a number, I didn't mention this, I'll just say, we do have a number of local businesses, diaspora, or companies with locations in India and here who were planning to pay their own way and join us in India. A few of them have had to change plans due to the impact of flight cancellations in the Middle East on their travel. And I'm still trying to figure out who will join us, but they pay their own way. There is a cost to this, but the high level estimate is for all the meetings that we talked about, which I can summarize after the fact, but we're talking about several dozen meetings with prospects and 16, the better part of 2 weeks of travel for six people and more who join us at the meetings. It'll be under 35,000 and maybe under 30 for all of that, including hotels, flights, meals, marketing collateral, booth. In India, we are spending almost $10,000 on a booth. We will be the only county in that huge conference, but for a certain county across the river in Virginia. And I suspect we may have more meetings than most.
Thank you.
Members of the media, any additional questions regarding this trip to Asia?
Can I just ask one more?
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, Councilmember Balcom is joining you for the entire trip, correct? Or just India?
No, actually just for Taiwan.
Just for Taiwan. Okay. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. No more questions regarding the trip to Asia? Okay, thank you, Director Costello, for joining us today. You can remain here in the media briefing, or you can depart if you need to go. Mr. County Executive.
Thank you, Judy, for doing that. And we don't do sightseeing on these trips. It's not something we get to do.
Is it just me, or do I hear him really low?
Am I really low? I don't know.
Yes,
Can you hear me?
low.
Okay, let's say, Mr. County Executive, can you try again? I was just hearing you very low.
Right. Anyway, I want to talk about an incident that happened in Bethesda. Thanks to MCFRS fire crews who responded to a serious incident in Bethesda where 2 construction workers were rescued from a ditch. A homeowner had drainage issues, and the workers were digging down to the footing to perform waterproofing when the trench collapsed on them. Chief Smedley reported that one worker was buried up to his waist and the other nearly up to his head. Both were alert and communicating during the rescue. The team coincidentally was training for such emergencies yesterday as well, so they got to put their training into practice. They used buckets, airbags, and cribbing to prevent further collapse and parked vehicles away to avoid vibrations. One worker was trapped for about an hour before he was rescued and transported by a helicopter to a nearby hospital. And the other worker was trapped for about 2 hours, had just enough room to allow his chest to expand and continue breathing, according to first responders. We're fortunate that neither worker was killed. The responders or any of the neighbors, nobody was hurt in this one. None of them were killed in this incident. According to our Department of Permitting Services, there was no permit required for this work that they were doing. DPS, as well as MOSHA, which is the State Occupational Safety and Health Administration, are now investigating why and how this happened. This incident is kind of a sober reminder that construction work is always dangerous work. We're fortunate to have well-trained and quick responsive first responders. I wish those injured a speedy recovery. And again, I greatly appreciate the work of MCFRS. I went to 2 events over the past week that put small businesses in our county in the spotlight. Maryland Governor Wes Moore and the Department of Housing and Community Development leaders were there last Friday to celebrate the brand new Richardson School of Music in Tacoma Park. Brings together music lovers and quality teachers through private lessons and group classes. And this summer, Richardson is gearing up for a camp aimed at 5 to 12-year-olds. That work will be done at a new permanent facility now, funded in part by a $150,000 grant from Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development's Project Restore 2.0 program. The money allowed Richardson to purchase and renovate the space after years of operating in leased buildings. And speaking of buildings, on Monday, I joined the governor again, this time in Long Branch, to celebrate a new look for the neighborhood. State funds helped restore the Flower Theater facade, preserving its classic modern architecture and community identity. Beyond that, the governor announced he has included $3 million in his proposed budget to help pay for improved storefronts and building rehabilitation along the Purple Line route. This is going to help businesses along the corridor get real benefits from free exterior upgrades, better lighting, and more inviting signage. Last year, we opened revitalized Park Montgomery and brand new Park Montgomery West, right down the street from there, helping to preserve more than 200 affordable housing units near the Purple Line. And these are examples of our county's commitment to stable neighborhoods and opportunities for all of our residents. Projects like this strengthen our local commercial districts and celebrate the history that's embedded in those districts. The thing at the Flower Theater was really kind of personal to me because I started going to the Flower Theater when I was in college, and there is still a deli up there that I went to back then, and so that's close to my house, and it's just nice to see the neighborhood and the center there getting the attention that it needs. Projects like this are important to us, and we've seen in other parts of the county how things like facade improvements help unlock private investment and improve commercial appeal. It's the kind of boost this area needs after dealing with the painfully disruptive construction of the Purple Line for the last several years. Any of you who live over there know what a nightmare it's been. Enhancements like this help small business owners stay competitive and continue serving the community. More projects are going to be coming in 2026, thanks in part to the Long Branch's designation as a Main Street, Maryland community. I look forward to more openings and reasons to celebrate Long Branch in the years to come. I want to thank Governor Moore and the Housing and Community Development Secretary Jake Day for continuing to make Montgomery County improvements a priority in his administration. It's nice to know that we're on the map. A federal proposal to reclassify nursing degrees as non-professional is deeply troubling. It sends the wrong message about the value of people who form the backbone of our healthcare system. Nurse practitioners, midwives, and clinical specialists are highly trained professionals who provide essential care in our communities every day, and reclassifying their degrees, as the Trump administration would like to do, diminishes their work and undermines the workforce that is nearly 90% women. I think there's a theme about attacking women in the Trump administration, and this is just another example of his philosophy that if you're a woman, you can't possibly be a professional because, after all, you couldn't possibly be smart enough to be a professional. It is alarming that you have political leaders who actually believe that nonsense. Worse yet, that they say it out loud, and then they do things to follow up on it. All that is very disturbing. And it really comes at a bad time. Montgomery County and across the country, these professionals provide primary care and maternal health services, mental health support for countless families. Reducing the federal loan limits from $50,000 to $20,500 a year, while maintaining higher limits for fields like medicine and law, creates a clear financial barrier for people pursuing advanced nursing degrees. Eliminating access to Grad Plus loans will make it even harder for first-generation students, working parents, women of color to enter these programs at a time when our country is already facing a serious nursing shortage. This is the absolutely wrong move, and it's going to move us in the wrong direction. Schools are already turning away qualified applicants each year because of the lack of the faculty and the resources to train them. Policies that make it harder to finance nursing education are only going to make the nursing shortage worse and limit access to care in our communities. If we're serious about strengthening our healthcare system, which he likes to talk about, you actually need to strengthen the healthcare workers. And we should support the people who want to serve in these critical roles. The last thing we need is a new obstacle in their way. I urge the Department of Education to reconsider this proposal and recognize advancing nurses for what it is. It's a vital profession that our communities depend on every day. Finally, nice little graphic here. I'd like to remind the media and the public that we are still in need of finding homes for big dogs in our county. The Office of Animal Services and Adoption Center was overwhelmed last week with more surrenders than usual. The shelter has more than 100 dogs now. I want to thank the families that turned out this past weekend in response to the call for help. Nearly 20 dogs were adopted over the weekend, and 6 were placed in foster homes. Adopting, even temporarily fostering, can help relieve pressure on the facility by opening space for new arrivals and giving animals more time to find a permanent home. Our facility in Durwood is open from noon to 7 Tuesday through Friday and from noon to 5 on Saturday and Sunday. The facility is closed on Mondays. So please spread the word that help is still needed. If you want a pet dog, we have them. Come visit our facility. So we'll open it up for questions. And before I do that, I'll give my staff a chance to share any updates that they have, and I'll start with my health team.
Good afternoon, Mr. County Executive, and I echo those comments that it is absolutely a wrong move for the Department of Education to change any support or assistance to our nurses and our nurse practitioners. Just think about those nurses and nurse practitioners and clinicians who provided the work in the community during or even the heightened point in COVID, where we had the vaccinations and we had the highest rates and we did all the testing. We could absolutely not do that work in the manner in which we did without them. So if there's anyone listening at the Department of Education, this message is for you. It is absolutely wrong. Now, on a different note, I want to remind folks of the information that we provided last week during those tips that Dr. Davis, our health officer, and Monica Martin provided, our chief of behavioral health. We're still in a conflict in the Middle East, and we recognize that there are mental health challenges or could be mental health challenges associated with that. But I remind folks that help continues to be within reach with our crises services helpline. That number is 240-777-4000. And if you don't want to reach out and contact our crises helpline, there are tips. And I'll remind our viewers this afternoon of those tips. Take breaks from the media and practice mindfulness. Get up and take a walk. It's been nice the last couple of days, although it's supposed to be a little cooler this weekend. But this is an absolutely great time to just unwind, to do deep breathings, to practice and remind yourself that there are things that are bigger than this, just war over there. Take care of yourself, be healthy, and connect with others. And last but not least, let's have conversations with our children and adolescents, because they may be experiencing stress and anxiety associated with this conflict in the Middle East. So take time out to have a conversation with them and just be realistic about those challenges, concerns, and recognize those concerns. I'll stop there and I'll turn it over to Mr. O'Donnell for his public health service update.
Thank you, Dr. Bridgers. I don't have anything additional to add today.
Dr. Stoddard, do you have remarks?
Yeah, just very quickly. On Monday night, the Office of Community Partnerships hosted a community meeting with some of our nonprofits talking about immigration and what they're seeing on the ground with regard to immigration enforcement. Found to be a very productive conversation. Involved our nonprofits, our Office of Community Partnerships, Health and Human Services, our Office of Food Systems Resilience, and others to try and give an update on sort of what the county is doing in this space and how we're serving our residents, but also hear from them about what they're seeing on the grounds and resource gaps they're experiencing. This will be the first in what is going to be a series of continuous engagements. It was actually some feedback we received in meetings from the city of Chicago after their surge that they wish they had a better relationships with their nonprofits on the ground, so that when they saw their surge, they had a venue and a vehicle and trust built, so that there was a way to convey sort of changing and shifting things on the ground. And so we're endeavoring to build that same relationship with our nonprofit. Not to suggest we haven't had a relationship with nonprofits, but a more regular engagement on the immigration front to make sure that we're getting information from them and they're getting information from us, and they can ask questions. We can get feedback from them. And so it was very productive engagement, and something we'll be continuing moving forward.
Thank you, gentlemen. Members of the media, any questions for the county executive? Additional questions for him and the other county officials? Any more questions this afternoon? No more questions? Going once? Twice? Okay, I think we're done for today. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you all.